Hello, Robert Kiyosaki, and I'm very happy to be here on whatever I'm on because technology-wise, I know nothing. I'm horrible. I barely use my cell phone. But as I was saying earlier, is that I just started to, when all of this pandemic blew up, people started sitting at home, losing their jobs and all this. My little Twitter account, like you can follow me on Twitter, by the way. But obviously, more people start to listen to me. So before I might get 0 likes or 10 likes, and now suddenly I'm getting like 1,000, 6,000, 5,000, 14,000 likes. But I also, on this 14,000, I also get a lot of hate. It's a very interesting time, you know. They hate me. And I think they hate me on this more this vaccine stuff. They say, stay in your lane, stay in your lane, don't go there. And I had no idea that vaccine was such a hot subject, because parents don't want their kids vaccinated and some do. And so there's a war on between the vax and the anti-vax and all this stuff. I'm finding out a lot about Twitter. I love Twitter because I get to find out what's on your mind here. So with that, I'm going to answer a lot of questions here or some of the things because Twitter is like 240 characters, could be wrong, but I could go more in depth of it. So I'm just doing Twitters that do well, that need greater explanation. And so this is Twitter on video. So the number 3 that we're talking about is the 3 best reasons for becoming an entrepreneur. So let me go back in time again. It's because Rich Dad, Poor Dad is the story of 2 different men, great men. My poor dad was a PhD, did his graduate work at Stanford, Northwestern University, Chicago. Very good guy, head of education for the state of Hawaii, great man, employee. My rich dad was was an entrepreneur. And he was an entrepreneur because when he was 13, his father died, he got taken out of school. So he was raised in the real world of money. And my poor dad was raised in the fake world. So at 9 years old, I had to go listen to 2 dads. My poor dad, the PhD, probably said the same thing to you. Your parents did. You got to go to school. You have to have good grades. And if you don't have good grades, you won't get a good job. And if you don't get a good job, you won't get a good paycheck. Right? And I go listen to my rich dad. He'd say, I wouldn't do that. But I never understood why they were so different. And finally, as older I get now, so one was an employee, go to school and get a job. And one was an entrepreneur. You don't need money. So as I grew older and older and older, I got to see that rich dad didn't need a job because he didn't need money. So as I put in my little Twitter, there's 3 reasons you want to become an entrepreneur. 1, you create jobs. So as an investor, I don't invest in small businesses. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a small entrepreneur, 2 entrepreneurs, small, smart. I invest in smart entrepreneurs, not small entrepreneurs. And one of the first questions I ask a small entrepreneur is, do you have a financial statement? And if they say no, I don't invest with them because their mind is small. They're no different than a person who, opens a restaurant and makes pizza or Pizza Hut. I'll invest in Pizza Hut, but I won't invest in Joe's Pizza because the mind is small and they'll never grow the business. So I hate to say that, but that's the real world. So one of the tests I asked, do you have financial statements? Oh, no, 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 no. My husband or my wife is my bookkeeper. I'm out. They're thinking small. So over the years, I learned so many things about small entrepreneurs, smart entrepreneurs, failures. So going back to the cash flow quadrant, employee and S for small. And small stands for you think small. And the reason you're small, one of the definitions is you can do your job on your own. For example, let's say I'm a medical doctor. Can I do my job on my own? Yes. Can I polish shoes on my own? Yes. So most people come out as S's. Or can they do pizza on their own? Yes. But they can't build a Pizza Hut, and that's the difference. So on the B and I side, B stands for big business, 500 employees or more, and I stands for inside investor, an insider. Outside investors are investors who invest in stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. Those are outside guys. The eyes only invest on the inside. So that's like those guys on Shark Tank, Damon Johns and all that. They're looking for an inside deal. Now, to the E's and S's, insider investing is illegal. That's because you don't know anything about money. It's all insider trading. I don't invest in them. I don't have stocks, bonds, mutual funds, and ETFs. I'm not saying you shouldn't have them. I don't have them because they're outside. I want to be inside. And that takes education, it takes training, it takes failure, it takes experience, different teachers, different experiences. So I have B's. As an I invest in B's. I don't invest in E's and S's. You understand that? You get into the difference between a small entrepreneur and a smart entrepreneur. So I'll invest in a smart entrepreneur who's going to go to create a lot of jobs and create a lot of assets. Excuse me. But I won't invest in a guy who's happy with 2 pizza shops. There's no growth in there. So anyway, so that's the reason. Number 1 is I create jobs. Number 2 is I don't need a job. So one of my objectives when I was getting out of the Marine Corps, I flew for the Marine Corps. My poor dad wanted to become I had 2 high-paying professions at age 25. One was a ship's officer. I could drive passenger liners. I could drive oil tankers, tugboats, very high-paying jobs. Or I could have flown for the airlines, United and all this stuff. But one of the reasons I wrote this latest book here, Who Stole My Pension, is my peers from the Marine Corps went to fly for United Airlines. Their pension was stolen. And people are going to find out after this coronavirus pandemic ends, they're going to find out the old guys, not only is Corona picking on old people, Wall Street's been picking on old retirees, and there's no pensions. They're gone. Okay, so if you understand that, that's why I wrote Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So second is you don't need a job, and 3, you don't need Wall Street for retirement. If you understand that, you'll understand the gap between poor dad who needed a job and needed a pension and needed a paycheck, and my rich dad who didn't. It's all financial education, financial transformation. So that's why I created the cash flow board game, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, cash flow quadrant. I write this book here, Who Stole My Pension. I write this book here, Prophecy, Why the Biggest Stock Market Crash Was Coming in 2016. I was 4 years off. I started the years 20 years ago, but I was 4 years off. I didn't think it was going to be this bad, so that's why I'm a little concerned. It's really, really bad. So I've been warning people this whole thing. So for those of you sitting at home right now, you can either be the best opportunity or the worst of times. I've been broke many times, and my wife and I, Kim, talk about being homeless. No money. She had to live for 2 weeks on $2, and she learned to eat pizza or tacos or something. But those are all growing experiences. So being an entrepreneur is risky. You fail a lot and all that. But it's like a baby falling down. Eventually, they start to walk. And then once the baby starts to walk, they want a bicycle, a car, then a fighter jet. That's evolution. That's transformation. So really, that's really what we stand for at Rich Dad. It's not about job security and working at a job you hate, but it's really being challenged, enjoying it, making mistakes. Another big thing is who our friends are. Our friends are advisors. My accountants, my attorney, my bankers, and all this. We have different friends. So my best friend is my accountant. Not my best friend, but closest advisor is my accountant because it's always taxes. Then comes as Tom Wheelwright wrote Tax Free Wealth. And there's Garrett Sutton, who's my corporate counsel. I don't want to break the law because the laws are different. Tax laws are different. Employees pay about 40% in tax. S's pay about 60% in tax. Big business guys pay about 20% in tax, and I's pay 0. I don't want to break the law because I don't want to go to jail and tap dance and be somebody's boyfriend. I don't want to break the law. So a lot of the things I do are different than what an employee and a self-employed person can do. So you got to have a great attorney. Also, I have a bookkeeper, a real bookkeeper. When I meet an S, like at this small and smart, when I meet an S that say my husband does my books or my wife does my books, I'm out because the numbers are probably inaccurate. And I've got to have accurate numbers. And with those accurate numbers, I can give them to my accountants and my attorneys. See, with bad numbers, you get bad results. So it's all of those things that are different. So it's not easy. And the reason I'm happy you guys are listening right now is because through the magic of YouTube, social media, and all that, we can bring to you the differences. And because it's up to you. You know, it's what you put in your head, it's who your friends are, it's what you think. All this stuff makes a difference eventually. So for most people, they're going to make more money because the government's going to pay them more to stay at home. That's socialism. MMT, modern money theory. That's socialism. That's Bernie Sanders. That's fine. But I don't want that for me personally. So the best thing about it is I don't have to depend upon Wall Street for my asset. I can make my own. I make my own assets. Like a book. When I write a book, let's say I just wrote this book here. This book is sold to 50 publishers throughout the world. And they pay us, let's say, $10,000 for the rights to publish my book. And they pay for the publishing. They pay for the printing. They just send me the check. That's called cash flow. Okay. And with that check, I buy real estate, so I don't have to pay taxes. That's the game. So anyway, Who Stole My Pension? It just came out. It's now being auctioned off at for different publishers throughout the world. And I don't know how much. If let's say they pay me $10,000 and I have 50 guys bid on it, I don't know how much money that is, but that's more per hour than they pay me to work. So I'm an S as a writer with Mona, who helps me a lot, Mona Gambetta. But once this book transitions out, it becomes an asset. So I don't need a mutual fund. I don't need dividends. You know, this is the asset. So one of the best things about being an entrepreneur is you create your own assets and you can bypass the system. And I say this all the time. Gold, silver, Bitcoin, or crypto is outside the system. So those are the biggest differences for being an entrepreneur. And I'll say this because I say it all the time. This is the most powerful tool. The iPhone, or whatever you guys call it, is the most powerful tool ever created for the entrepreneur. So you can use it to twit and twat and all this stuff, or you can use it to communicate to the world and make a lot of money. The difference is what's up here. If you see the world as an employee, this is not much value except for entertainment. But if you see this world as an entrepreneur, the world is the biggest opportunity you'll ever have. So anyway, that's the brave new world we're in. The question is, do you think like my poor dad, go to school, get a job, become a PhD, and run the Fed or run Congress, whatever you guys do? Or think like rich dad and say, hey, I will do what I want to do, screw you. My freedom is more important than a paycheck. So that's the world we sit in right now. And that's why Twitter number 3 was 3 best reasons for becoming an entrepreneur. Reason number 1, and there's only one, it's freedom. It is the most important thing. And right now, people are taking away our freedoms. That's what's frightening. So thank you very much for listening. We'll continue more now that I'm becoming an expert at Twittering. Thank you very much.